chests have been around in Clash Royale since the very beginning. In fact, chests make up a huge part of Clash Royale's economy, so it's clear that they've had a major impact on how the game is played. But out of every chest that has ever been in the game, which is the greatest? In this video, I want to explore some of the best chests that this game has ever had in order to truly find out what is the best chest in Clash Royale history. I feel like the Royal Wild chest is a weird chest since it feels like a pretty underwhelming chest when you look at its stats. I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything royal about 28,500 gold and 271 cards. Aside from the gold, 271 cards is around the same number of cards as what's in a fortune chest at the same arena. But then you start to realize 270 of these are wild cards and the remaining one card is a random champion. It's hard to describe how valuable wild cards are in Clash Royale. Maybe not as much in today's Clash Royale economy, but when this chest came out, wildcards weren't as readily available. So getting a legendary wildcard, 15 epic wildcards, 55 rare wildcards, and 200 common wildcards are actually really good, since these are cards that you get to choose which card you want to add wildcards to. And adding to that, you get a free Royal Wild chest in the Pass Royale. So even if it wasn't great value, it still deserves some recognition. But since it does actually have pretty good stats, it deserves a spot on this list. However, this chest is kind of like the tip of the iceberg of good Clash Royale chests. I think the crown chest is one of Clash Royale's most underrated chests, and since it's been removed from the game, I feel like it would just become less known and less appreciated. The best part of crown chests were that they were instant unlocks, meaning that you wouldn't need to wait like 3 or even 8 hours to unlock them like you do with the silver and the golden chests. In fact, this waiting time is the reason that the silver and the golden chests are some of the worst chests in Clash Royale, since they slow down progression, but also since they have such terrible rewards for the amount of time you have to wait for them to unlock. But to top it off, compared to golden chests, crown chests have more than double the gold, but also they have the chance to give gems, and they were also much more common, meaning that you didn't need to sort through random silver chests before getting a golden chest with subpar rewards. Crown chests also have a higher chance of a legendary than golden chests. Overall, crown chests were just amazing, and I can't think of anything bad to say about the crown chest. It just provided so much value, and were a great way to grind for good resources in the old Pass Royale. In fact, a 12-win classic challenge chest is pretty similar to a crown chest, so it just goes to show that the crown chest is not as bad as some people would believe. I don't know if a lucky drop counts as a chest, but since lucky drops have replaced the crown chests in the Pass Royale, I guess that means they can count as a chest. If this is true, then I think the 5-star lucky drop is up there as one of the best chests in Clash Royale's history. And before you come at me with the argument that the 5-star lucky drops are trash since they give subpar rewards and are super rare, I think it's important to realize that A, they might seem rare since some players aren't willing to play every day, which is fair enough, but B, 5-star lucky drops have some of the best rewards I have ever seen a chest in Clash Royale give probably ever. So the argument that the rewards aren't great doesn't really feel like a good take. To list off the possible rewards from least rare to most rare, they are the common and rare books, the epic and legendary books, the book of books, 50,000 elite wildcards, and rarest of all, a full evolution. I feel like any of these rewards are absolutely insane, to be honest, since they boost progression so much each in their own way. To be honest, I'd argue that the two rarest rewards of the lot, the 50,000 elite wildcards and the full evolution, provide the least progression. Sure, 50,000 elite wildcards can help you get a card to level 15, but the other rewards just feel so much better. And with the full evolution, a player may not have supporting cards to a newly unlocked evolution at a high enough level, meaning that the new evolution may not be able to be used at its full potential. It's difficult to talk about the chances in terms of the 5-star lucky drop, since there are so many different probabilities depending on the tier of the lucky drop. But with all the unlockable lucky drops in the game at the moment, I would say that a free-to-play player can expect around 1 5-star lucky drop per season, as well as around 2 to 3 4-star lucky drops. This is aside from the normal lucky drops that a player would get per season. This means that even compared to the normal original free Pass Royale and the Pass Royale 2.0, this is better rewards for free-to-play players, especially at the upper end, since the old Pass Pass Royale would have never given the chance to even get 50,000 elite wildcards or a full evolution for free. It is for this reason that the 5-star lucky drop is so good. Not only is it not stupidly rare like a mega lightning chest, but it actually has amazing rewards. And as a bonus, it doesn't have a 24-hour unlock time like the mega lightning chest would. I mentioned in my video of useless features that legendary chests are some of the worst chests in Clash Royale. So why would I be mentioning legendary chests in a video of the best chests, I hear you ask? Well, I think that the 2016 legendary chest was one of the best chests of all time, and it makes sense why. It's hard to describe how rare legendaries were in 2016, so I'll try my best to give you an accurate representation. Even a super magical chest at the time didn't guarantee legendaries, meaning someone could have spent an equivalent of around $40 on gems, and it may have not had a legendary. And to add to that, in 2016 there was no such thing as Path of Legends or level caps. It meant that if a player played on ladder, they would need to have at least equal level cards if they wanted to even have a chance of being competitive. So what if I told you that even some of the best players in the world in 2016 didn't have max decks? Without magic items like the Book of Cards or even legendary wild cards, upgrading legendaries was so painstakingly slow. To upgrade a single legendary from level 1 to level 5, the max level in 2016, you needed 36 legendary cards. I mean, let's just say that on average you got a legendary every 5 days in 2016. Even for today's standards, that's pretty high. Even with these kind of stats, the minimum amount of time that you needed to play to get a legendary to max level was 180 days, or basically half a year. And keep in mind, this is assuming that every time you opened a chest that had a legendary, you would get the exact same legendary. So this had a really low chance of occurring anyway. So this is why the best way for both free-to-play and pay-to-win players to consistently get legendaries for a good price was through the legendary chest, either from a shop offer or winning the chest in a battle. For 500 gems, you would be guaranteed a legendary without the 1-day unlock time, and it gave you a random legendary, which was great since it meant that a player wouldn't be limited by what was available in their arena like other chests at the time. So you could have gotten a legendary that was not available in your arena. It was great that Clash Royale made it cost gems rather than the equivalent in money, which would have been around $5, since it meant that even free-to-play players could have had the chance to get a legendary. I think the fact that there was a chest in 2016 that could guarantee something that many players would spend close to $30 for only 500 gems is absolutely insane, and it means that the 2016 legendary chest deserves its spot as one of the best chests in Clash Royale history. The Super Magical Chest, statistically, was the best chest you could buy from the shop in Clash Royale in 2016. Actually, change that, of all time. But being 4,900 gems, which keep in mind is equivalent to around $40, meant that it really wasn't worth it to buy. But when Clash Royale removed the Super Magical Chest from the shop and introduced the Mega Lightning Chest into the game, it was a much better implementation into Clash Royale. The Mega Lightning Chest was identical to the Super Magical Chest, but it had lightning strikes, meaning that you could strike cards that you wanted to change and possibly get the legendary or other cards that you wanted. As time goes on, legendaries in Clash Royale will become more common, so this means that getting random legendaries or epics in chest isn't as thrilling as it used to be. So offering lightning strikes to change a legendary or epic that you get from a valuable chest that gives such good rewards is so great, since the player can strike it to try get the card that they want to upgrade and therefore progress easier. To give you an idea on how good the Mega Lightning Chest is, at Legendary Arena it gave almost 30,000 gold and a total of 1,100 cards. Of these 1,100 cards, it was guaranteed for you to get at least 1 legendary, 36 epic cards, and 219 rare cards. However, it was actually possible for a player to get more than 1 legendary from these chests, and even getting a champion was possible from these chests. But the biggest problem with the Mega Lightning Chest was how rare it was. When they first got added into the game, you couldn't buy the Mega Lightning Chest in a permanent shop offer, so they were really rare. And to be honest, I think this is actually better, since it means that it maintains its prestige as an ultra rare and sought after chest. You could however get the Mega Lightning Chest as the reward of a quest sequence, and it is actually possible to get it from battle, albeit extremely rare. This is the reason that the Mega Lightning Chest is quite low on this list. It is a great chest, it's just that it is so rare that it's not really worth it to grind for it. The Legendary King's Chest is the best chest that you can buy right now in the game at the moment. For 2,500 gems, which is equal to exactly $20 US, at Legendary Arena the chest guarantees almost 14,000 gold, a champion, a legendary, and even wild cards of each rarity, as well as almost 100 rare cards and hundreds of common cards. And what makes it even better is that you get to choose from 2 options which card you want. So it doesn't mean that your chance to get a common you want is wasted on like hundreds of elite barbarians or a random common card like it could be in a random chest. Even though it is available for immediate purchase for 2,500 gems, I think the reason that the Legendary King's Chest is so good compared to the Mega Lightning Chest is that it is available in the Royal Tournament bonus rewards as well if you get 10 wins. Getting 10 wins in the Royal Tournament is doable since you have up to 5 losses, so if a player is comfortable with a deck, they can get so many rewards on top of a Legendary King's Chest for 500 gems. And keep in mind, both methods of obtaining this chest are instant unlocks, meaning that you don't have to wait a day after spending on this chest. In my opinion, this chest is like a super magical chest but way more practical. It's cheaper, it gives you the option to choose which card you want out of 2 options, it gives you wild cards which are way more versatile, and it is available in more parts of the game that are easily accessible to free-to-play players. So considering that there is a more practical version of arguably one of the most stacked chests in the game, I'd say that the Legendary King's Chest earns its spot as one of the best chests in Clash Royale's history. Clan Wars 2 wasn't a great update for the game for a variety of reasons. From bugs, exploits, and overall worse progression for free-to-play players, it's safe to say it's an update to forget for Clash Royale. However, I actually think that the first place Clan Wars 2.0 chest is one of the best chests in Clash Royale. This chest could be won if a clan finished the river race faster than the other clans, and in terms of rewards, it gave around 4,400 gold with a total of 630 cards. Of these 630 cards, it was guaranteed for a player to get at least 126 rares and 15 epics, as well as 1 legendary, either in the form of a random legendary card or a legendary wild card. In terms of stats, I'd say it's kind of like a beefed up magical chest, and considering that magical chests are so valuable, it's kind of crazy that this chest can be won completely for free. And what's even better is that the second place chest is still good value. The second place chest gives around 4,000 gold and guarantees at least 114 rares, 14 epics, and 1 legendary. So again, even the second place chest is like a beefed up magical chest. Even though I never play Clan Wars 2, I feel like an active clan can pretty consistently get second place in Clan Wars, meaning they can get a beefy magical chest with guaranteed legendaries, and this is weekly, which is actually great. It means that the first and second place Clan Wars chests are not only great value, but they are also consistent, and they do not cost outrageous amounts of money like the Legendary King's Chest does to obtain. This is why I think the higher ranked Clan War 2 chests earn a spot on this list as one of the best chests in Clash Royale history. Maybe I am a bit biased, but I think the clan chest is up there as one of the GOAT chests in Clash Royale. It's one of the only chests that I remember opening from the earlier days of Clash Royale, and after some reworks and tweaks, the final clan chest before it got removed was genuinely such a great chest. Every week, your clan could have grinded crowns which could go towards a communal clan chest, where every member could get the same rewards from it. I think this was such a great system, since there didn't need to be any toxic battles against other clans to fight for rewards like there is currently. Instead, all clans could work together and earn good rewards, which is why the clan chest was so universally loved by Clash Royale players. The max clan chest, which needed 1,600 crowns, gave 1,620 gold and had 270 cards. Of this, it was guaranteed to get at least 27 rares and 2 epics. The clan chest also had a 7.5% chance of getting a legendary. Considering that this chest was a weekly thing and also was completely free, this meant that the clan chest was like free resources for any clan. The biggest reason why this chest was so good was because of how fun it made playing the game. It gave clans a reason to play for more crowns. Many posts that I've read have described how this chest was the reason that clans were so active. So aside from the nostalgia aspect, this chest gave genuinely good rewards and was also overall just a fun chest to grind towards, easily one of the greatest chests of all time. In my opinion, the 12-win Grand Challenge chest is the best chest in the game right now. I mean, if you look at it from the value perspective, for 100 gems you are getting 22,000 gold and 1,100 cards, of which you are guaranteed at least 11 epics and 110 rare cards. The chest also has around a 40% chance of a legendary, as well as around a 10% chance of a champion. And yes, in terms of legendaries and champions, the 12 win Grand Challenge chest is worse than a legendary King's chest, but in terms of lower rarity cards, this chest is basically twice as good as a legendary King's chest, so they kind of balance out. The difference between these chests, however, is the difficulty of obtaining one. As I mentioned before, you can get a legendary King's chest for 500 gems if you get to 10 wins in the global tournament, or buy it outright for 2500 gems from the shop. Getting 10 wins in global tournament is much easier than getting 12 wins in a Grand Challenge, so you're kind of paying that premium for the legendary King's chest to cover for how hard it is to get a 12 win Grand Challenge chest. To give you an idea, you have to maintain at least an 80% win rate, and adding to that, the final games are often against extremely skillful players, so maintaining a high win rate against these players is almost impossible for a casual player. This is why I think it's not the best chest in Clash Royale history, since it's almost impossible for normal players to obtain it. But I think in terms of stats compared to resources spent, it provides probably the most value of any chest in the game right now. This was a tough decision to put after the 12 win Grand Challenge chest, since the way you obtain it is similar to the 12 win Grand Challenge chest, but I think the nostalgia aspect of the draft chest puts it ahead of the 12 win Grand Challenge chest. The draft chest was like draft mode combined with a chest, similar to the current day legendary King's chest. However, it was different to the legendary King's chest, since you got a different tier of the draft chest depending on which league you got to. Much like how the reward for a 6 win Grand Challenge chest is worse than a 12 win Grand Challenge chest, the Challenger draft chests were worse than the Master draft chests, which were worse than Champion and Ultimate Champion chests. Since there are so many different chests, I want to consider the best and the worst draft chest available. Starting with the worst draft chest, this was available for those who did not even advance from Challenger 1 to a new league. The draft chest for Challenger 1 gave around 2000 gold and guaranteed 10 epics and 50 rares. It also had around a 30% chance of a legendary. So honestly, this chest was actually pretty good considering that you wouldn't need to do any kind of competitive play once you reach leagues. I'd say it was kind of like a golden chest with the higher tier rewards beefed up. The best draft chest possible, the Ultimate Champion chest, gave around 10,000 gold, guaranteeing 50 epics and 250 rare cards. It also guaranteed a legendary card, and had around a 60% chance of a second legendary. This chest was absolutely insane considering it was completely free for any player to get this, as long as they made it to Ultimate Champion, which was 6400 trophies. And yeah, I agree that getting to Ultimate Champion in Clash Royale is really difficult, but I would argue that getting 12 wins in a Grand Challenge is actually much harder. To give you an idea, even with the old league system, around 1% of players reached Ultimate Champion, which sounds like a very low proportion of the player base, until you realize that around 0.5% of all players that have ever attempted a Grand Challenge would have achieved 12 wins, statistically speaking. And yes, even though the max draft chest seems to be much worse than the 12 win Grand Challenge chest, the Ultimate Champion draft chest prioritizes higher tier rewards like Legendaries and Epics, while the Grand Challenge chest kind of evenly allocates rewards across all rarities. This is why I think the draft chest is just better than the Grand Challenge chest. Not only is it a better legendary King's chest, it was attainable for free and felt like it was worth it. And adding to that, the fact that any player that even attempted to play leagues could have gotten this chest, albeit somewhat worse rewards for players that progressed less, meant that it was just a great all-round chest that rewarded players for progressing higher with something that actually had meaning and could help progression. I feel like this chest is so insane that to someone who probably didn't play in 2016, me mentioning it would make them feel like I am making up a random chest. But nope, the 250,000 gem Royal Tournament chests were easily the best chests in Clash Royale history. The main chests I'm talking about is the first, second, and third place chests. It's hard to describe how hard these chests were to obtain. First of all, these tournaments occurred during only one period throughout Clash Royale's entire history, meaning that I'm guessing there would probably be a max of 100 winners of the first place chest. Considering that probably 100 million players have played this game ever, this shows that the chance of any random player obtaining this chest was 0.0001%. 100%. So how exactly did these tournaments work? Well, the tournaments would often be set up by large organizations, and the reason this was the case was because to host one of these tournaments, it cost 250,000 gems. Since 100 of these tournaments were set up, the total cost of the organization of these tournaments was 25 million gems, which is equivalent to around 178,000 US dollars. In each of these tournaments, 1,000 of the best players would compete for the grand prize of 3 of the biggest chests in Clash Royale's history. Starting with the third place chest, it gave around 40,000 gold and had a total of 7,500 cards. Keep in mind here, a 12-win Grand Challenge chest only has 1,100 cards, so this chest had almost 7 times the number of cards as the most stacked chest in the game right now. Of these 7,500 cards, you were guaranteed to get 250 epics and 1,500 rares. The unlock time for this chest was a whopping 8 days. This chest would also give you around 5 legendaries. This video sums it up pretty well, and I can imagine how exciting it would be to open. And keep in mind here, this was only the third place chest. The second place chest was even more insane. Getting second place in these tournaments would have meant that you would have gotten a chest that gave 10,000 cards, which is around 10 times bigger than the 12-win Grand Challenge chest. This chest gave between 50 and 70,000 gold and guaranteed at least 333 epic cards and 2,000 rare cards. The unlock time for this chest was over 10 days, and this chest contained around 7 legendaries. Even at this point, the chest was absolutely insane, and the first place chest gets even crazier. The first place chest contained 15,000 cards, making it around 14 times bigger than the 12-win Grand Challenge chest. In terms of rewards, this chest gave between 75,000 and 105,000 gold, and of the 15,000 cards it contained, you could guarantee at least 500 epics and 3,000 rare cards, and this monster of a chest took a whopping 13 days to unlock, which is the longest unlock time of any chest in Clash Royale's history. This chest also holds the record for the most legendaries in a single chest, with it containing around 10 legendary cards. Even for today's standards, that is absolutely insane. So imagine how crazy these kind of rewards would have been for someone playing in 2016. It's hard for me to describe how insane these chests were for a player in 2016, since there were no magic items, so chests were one of the only ways to guarantee legendaries consistently in Clash Royale. To me, these chests are easily the greatest chests in Clash Royale ever, and in my opinion, there will never be another chest as great as these chests probably ever. I hope you enjoyed this video though. Thanks for watching.